Long ago, there lived a wise king renowned for his ability to know all that happened in his realm, as if secrets were brought to him by the wind. Yet, he kept a mysterious habit. Every evening, after the dining table was cleared and everyone else dismissed, a trusted servant brought him a covered dish. No one knew what the dish contained, not even the servant, for the king only ate from it in complete solitude. One day, the servant, overcome by curiosity, carried the dish to his room, locked the door, and lifted the cover. To his surprise, he saw a white snake lying on the plate. Compelled to taste it, he cut a small piece and put it in his mouth. Immediately, he heard strange whispers outside his window. Listening closely, he realized it was the sparrows chattering about their day in the fields and forests. The snake's flesh had given him the extraordinary ability to understand the language of animals. That same day, the queen discovered her most prized ring was missing. Suspicion fell on the servant, as he was one of the few allowed everywhere in the palace. Furious, the king summoned him and demanded he find the thief by morning or face execution. The servant protested his innocence, but his pleas were ignored. Distraught, he wandered the courtyard, wondering how to save himself. Nearby, some ducks were resting by a brook, preening their feathers and chatting. He overheard one complain about feeling unwell after swallowing a ring it had found near the queen's window. Acting swiftly, the servant grabbed the duck and brought it to the cook, saying, "Here's a fine duck, please prepare it." As the duck was being dressed, the queen's ring was found in its stomach. The servant brought the ring to the king and proved his innocence. Grateful for his loyalty, the king offered him any reward. The servant humbly asked only for a horse and some money to travel the world. His request granted, he set out on his journey. One day, he came across 3 fish trapped in reeds, gasping for water. Though it was said fish were dumb, he heard them lamenting their plight. Moved by their despair, he dismounted and freed them, returning them to the water. The grateful fish promised, "We will remember this kindness and repay you." Later, while crossing a forest, he heard an ant king complaining about careless humans trampling their colony. "That clumsy horse nearly destroyed us all," it cried. Feeling sorry, the servant steered his horse away, avoiding further harm. The ant king called out, "We will remember your kindness. One good turn deserves another." As he ventured deeper into the woods, he came upon 2 ravens scolding their fledglings, pushing them out of the nest. "Out with you, lazy creatures. Find your own food now." The young ravens, unable to fly, flapped helplessly on the ground, crying, "What can we do?" "We'll starve." Seeing their plight, the servant made a great sacrifice. He killed his horse with his sword and left it for the ravens to eat. Satiated, the fledglings promised, "We will remember this kindness and repay you someday." Now traveling on foot, the servant eventually reached a bustling city where he heard an announcement. The king's daughter sought a husband, but anyone who wished to marry her must first complete a dangerous task. Failure meant death. Many had tried and perished, but when the servant saw the princess's beauty, he decided to take the risk. His first challenge was to retrieve a golden ring thrown into the sea. The king warned, "If you return without it, you'll be cast into the waves again and again until you drown." Left alone by the shore, the servant despaired. Suddenly, the 3 fish he had saved appeared swimming towards him. One carried a mussel in its mouth, which it dropped at his feet. Inside the mussel was the golden ring. Overjoyed, the servant brought it to the king, expecting to marry the princess. However, the proud princess, displeased by his humble origins, demanded he complete another task. She scattered 10 sacks of millet seeds across the palace garden, instructing him to collect every single grain by morning. That night, as he sat in despair, the Ant King and his thousands of subjects came to his aid. By dawn, the seeds were gathered neatly into the sack. The princess was astonished but still reluctant. She set a final challenge. The servant must bring her a golden apple from the tree of life. Uncertain where to begin, he wandered through many lands, searching for the mythical tree. One evening, exhausted, he lay under a tree to rest. Suddenly, 3 ravens flew down and dropped a golden apple into his hands. "We are the fledglings you saved," they said. "We flew to the ends of the earth to find the tree of life and bring you this apple." With the golden apple, the servant returned to the princess. Having no more excuses, she accepted him as her husband. They shared the apple, which filled her heart with love. Together, they married and ruled the kingdom, living happily and harmoniously for many years, blessed by the servant's kindness and the gratitude of those he helped.